Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys a brand new NOVICK MAZINO underground laboratory team. So I'm not talking about the playable character. I'm talking about the team that you should use to fight against NOVICK MAZINO in underground laboratory. But before I get started on the video, make sure you guys like the video if you haven't, and also subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And if you guys are new here on the channel, I have a Discord server, so if you guys are interested, you can join the server by going to my channel description. You see the server link there, and I'll also post a server link in the comment section down below. But anyways, let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into the video. So the team I was able to form is a pretty much free-to-play team. Now this team is actually pretty solid because you don't really have to invest a lot into the characters that I'm about to show you guys. So I was able to make it to, rank 300, and of course, depending on your level, your damage, the amount of damage you're going to deal with this team depends on your level and your Shinto link, and how much accuracy or what stats you put on your character. So that plays a huge role. But overall, the team layout is actually pretty solid. So I attempted like 3 times with this team. If this can actually load up, okay, here it is. So I did like a couple attempts with this team, and I'm not gonna lie, I just like how this team performs. Like, this is a really synergized team, and the reason why this team is so cool is because you have Rachel, who's going to do basically the main damage in this team. And if you guys are wondering why I'm not using Verdi, well, I used Verdi, and I'm gonna go down over here. As you guys can see, I used Verdi, and her performance it's still good, but compared to Rachel just does more damage because Rachel, she basically has like a damage over time. So her damage over time is absolutely insane against bosses, and she's also able to apply that self heal. So Rachel is just overall really good against NOVICK MAZINO, and she can literally take down his shield, because the biggest problem with NOVICK MAZINO is taking down that shield. If you don't take it down on time, he is literally going to one-shot your main DPS and your healer. So you want to make sure that you actually get rid of that shield, and Rachel is an amazing character to get rid of it. Now the next character in this team is of course Hwarun. The reason why I'm using Hwarun in this team is because she is going to provide the barrier to NOVICK and Blurode, which is going to increase her survivability, and she's basically going to apply the additional attack to the team because she's going to inflict that mark on NOVICK MAZINO, and she's going to increase everyone's crit as well when they hit the enemy, NOVICK MAZINO. So overall, she is really good, and when she applies that swiftness buff, really solid overall. Now the next character is of course NOVICK. Now you guys haven't seen NOVICK in a long time. NOVICK is a really good unit against NOVICK MAZINO, and the reason why is because he's able to decrease the amount of damage you can take when you use his special skill, which is really solid because NOVICK MAZINO, his special skill can do a ton of damage. So the fact that NOVICK can reduce the amount of damage your team can take is really good overall. And I'm pretty sure he can also silence. If I'm not sure, he can also silence the boss. And as you guys can see, it says all basic attacks dealt by the target will miss for 9 seconds. So he can place a lot of debuffs on the boss, which just allows your team to do more damage. And another good thing about NOVICK is the fact that you don't really have to invest a lot into him. 1 purple star is fine. All you need him to do is to pretty much use his special skill so that he can do that decreased damage taken for your whole team who's standing in his special skill. Like when your team is standing inside his field, they're going to take less damage if you have level 4 exclusive equipment, which is really solid. So overall, NOVICK was doing really good in his team. Like, I literally had no ignition weapons sets on him, and he was doing really well. He was able to survive throughout the entire battle. And of course, the next character who's extremely important is none other than Blurode. Blurode is a crucial character in this team is because he's going to, if you have level 4 exclusive equipment on Blurode, he's going to decrease the boss's magic and physical resistance to 0, which is really solid. And he's also going to increase his attack against isolated enemies. So overall, Blurode, he's a really good character against bosses. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that by now. And of course, the set that I'm using on him is Bergamot set, so that you can increase his survivability. And Kaseya. Now the reason why I'm using Kaseya in his team, and look at her damage, man, 178 million damage. The reason why I'm using Kaseya is because it's not because of her ignition weapon, even though it's extremely good for her. It's not because of that, but the reason why I'm using her ignition weapon is because of her special skill and the fact that she can get rid of Uric Mazino's shield. Her special skill, if we look at her special skill, she's able to conceal herself. She's able to increase her crit rate, which is really nice, and she's also able to increase her attack. But look at this part right here. It says if the target has a barrier, it is instantly destroyed, and the attack coefficient increases by 200%. So she literally, not only will she get rid of Uric Mazino's shield, she will also get that additional 200% attack increase, which is absolutely insane. So the special move is really good, and I'm pretty sure for her other skills as well, she can get rid of the enemy shield. If I can look right here, she can also place bleeding. She can inflict bleeding on the enemy too. She can just do so many things, which is just so good overall. So her special skill is what makes her really good against bosses. So that is pretty much the team, and I'm going to go ahead and do another attempt for you guys. Now, when you're trying to use this team, you want to make sure that you actually play this in manual mode. You don't want to do this in auto mode, because your turns are just going to get messed up and then everyone is just going to die. And I was kind of surprised the fact that I was able to see, you know, a top 50 player using this team as well, because after I used it, I saw this guy, he was using a similar team comp. The only difference is that he's using this character instead of Kaseya, but he was using a similar team, which is pretty dope, and he's like top 50. So this team comp is actually pretty solid. So let's go ahead, do this in auto mode, and I'm going to shut up for you guys and show you guys some gameplay. All right, so we were able to hit 150 million. That was really higher than our last attempt, and we made it to like rank 269. So this team is doing us justice for sure. And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't fought Data Uric Mazino in a long time, but I wanted to test and see if, you know, NOVICK and Bloroden could say, I wanted to see if, you know, they're still good against him. And this team, it just became a lot better, because we have Rachel, who's doing insane damage and she's instantly taking down his barrier. We have Huarun, who's going to increase your team's swiftness. We have Bloroden, who's going to decrease his defense. He's also going to decrease his magic and physical resistance to 0 if you have his level 4 exclusive equipment. And we also have Kaseya, who's going to get rid of his shield like almost every single time. And of course NOVICK, he's going to decrease the amount of damage your team can take if you have his level 4 exclusive equipment. So overall, this team, it's really good. And if you're a free-to-play player, I definitely recommend you guys to try this team out. I think it's a really solid team to build. It's not really hard to build. You don't really need to invest a lot into characters like NOVICK, Bloroden. And honestly, if you are just not playing the game, like if you just started playing the game in January, then it kind of sucks because you won't be able to use Rachel in his team comp. But for, you know, the beginner players who started right before the collab event ended, like the 7 Nights collab event ended, then you have an opportunity to definitely try this team out. And I feel like this team, if I was like, you know, of course, if I had higher level, if I was around like level 300 with insane stats, I would have done a lot more damage. But I can definitely see the potential of this team overall. But That's pretty much it for today's video. Make sure that you guys like the video and subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.